Friday's second video for you is first news stories from Sudan, where a number of casualties has increased in yesterday's demonstrations, and Sudanese are now planning a sit-in Khartoum. Sudanese sit-ins in the past have brought about changes. Omar al-Bashir was removed after a sit-in. Second news story is from Somalia, viewers. Today is Somalia's Independence Day. Celebrations are being held. And secondly, Somali presidential spokesperson spoke about Somalia's recruits who were sent to Eritrea to receive military training. There have been rumors going around that Eritrea is demanding 5 million US dollars from 50 million US dollars from Somalia as expenditure on training. Today, Somali presidential spokesperson addressed these questions, addressed these rumors about Eritrean demand for 50 million US dollars. Thirdly, viewers, Amhara region of Ethiopia, street demonstrations are gaining pace. We have updates for you from two places, Shoa, Robit and Majete. Fourthly, Amhara diaspora community has been trying to internationalize killings of Amhara ethnic group members. It seems that on international level, this issue of killings of Amhara ethnic group is being highlighted. A meeting of Human Rights Council was held a few hours ago, where an NGO spoke in detail, international NGO spoke in detail about killings, displacements, abductions in the Amhara region of Ethiopia. We have a clip for you. And International Human Rights International Investigative Commission formed to investigate human rights abuses committed in Tigray. Amhara Afar is due to visit Ethiopia in coming days. The commission was formed last year. Ethiopia opposed the formation of the commission, and Ethiopia opposed the funding of the commission. And today, one commission member reportedly said that the commission plans to travel to Ethiopia. Lastly, was a very important news story. A Tigray opposition party, Salsiviyene, just a few minutes ago released a detailed statement about tensions between Tigray opposition parties and ruling party TPLF. And secondly, it shared its views about talks. Should talks be held under Ethiopian constitution? Very detailed statement. The statement indicates that it's going to be difficult for Tigray regional government to create consensus in Tigray for the upcoming talks. We'll have a detailed look at Salsiviyene's statement released a few minutes ago. Firstly, viewers, Sudan, where on Thursday massive demonstrations were held. Yesterday was 30th of June. On the 30th of June 1989, Omar al-Bashir dictator seized power. That is why Sudanese yesterday protested to condemn the military takeover in 1989. After struggle by democratic forces, ultimately in 2019, Omar al-Bashir had to quit, but army still remained in control. And since then, we have been seeing conflict between civilian politicians and army officers. Both are part of Sudan's Sovereignty Council. a transitional body formed to lead the country towards next election. Election could not be held. We have seen conflict between opposition, between politicians and army officers like Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, Hamati. The civilian Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok resigned a few months ago. Now, protests were held yesterday, massive demonstrations across Sudan, and security forces used force. A few hours ago, we reported 4 killings. Now, Sudan's Doctors Association has confirmed that at least 10 protesters were killed on Thursday in use of force by security officials. If 10 were killed, you can imagine how many would have been injured. Sudanese government says that more than 200 soldiers were also injured in yesterday's demonstrations. Yesterday, we know there was internet shutdown and communication blackout in Sudan. So that is why information is gradually coming out. Number of casualties is rising. Number of injured protesters is also rising. And protests are continuing. Protesters have now decided to continue their demonstrations, and in central Khartoum, capital of Sudan, resistance committees are trying to stage a sit-in. In Sudan, sit-ins have proven game changers, you can say. When al-Bashir was removed from power, thousands of Sudanese staged sit-in in front of his residence. Then after the removal of al-Bashir, Sudanese protesters staged a sit-in in front of military headquarters. The sit-in was attacked by security forces and dozens were killed in that attack. Once again, resistance committees have announced to stage a sit-in in central Khartoum. Preparations are underway. Will Sudanese security officials allow protesters to stage a sit-in in Khartoum remains to be seen, because yesterday Khartoum was cut off, you can say. Darman, Khartoum roads, bridges were cut off, and security officials tried to stop the flow of protesters from neighboring cities into Khartoum, but somehow, reportedly, thousands of protesters, they managed to enter Khartoum, who are now planning to start a sit-in. If a sit-in starts in central Khartoum, we could see increased pressure upon Sudanese military. Meanwhile, UN transition mission in Sudan, IGAD, foreign embassies, African Union, all are condemning what happened yesterday. Abdel Fattah al-Burhan had committed with US Assistant Secretary of State that protesters will be allowed to exercise their right to protest, right to hold assembly, but we saw that live ammunition was fired at protesters. That is why at least 10 casualties are being confirmed. In coming, I will try to update you about this sit-in if it started. Sudanese Khartoum-based resistance committees have issued a statement. The statement says Khartoum state resistance committees have decided to start a revolutionary escalation, employing all peaceful means for the overthrow of putschists. So, resistance committees, it seems, have decided to launch a new phase of this struggle, and we could see start of a major sit-in in Khartoum. We'll update you in coming videos about this key development from Sudan. Secondly, viewers, Somalia celebrated its Independence Day today. 1st of July is Somalia's Independence Day. In 1960, on the 1st of July, Somalia, Somaliland were unified. Somaliland under British control, Somalia under Italian control were merged, you can say. Somaliland celebrates its Independence Day on the 26th of June and Somalia on the 1st of July. But in 1991, Somaliland announced independence, that it's a separate country, though no country has recognized Somaliland as a country so far. Somalia is of the position that Somaliland is part of Somalia. So today celebrations were held and President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud laid wreath at Daljirka Dason Martyrs Monument in Mogadishu. Somaliland celebrated its Independence Day on the 26th of June. Could there be once again unification of Somaliland as Somalia? Let's see. But it is one of the agenda items of one of the objectives of Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud's government, that Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud government wants to talk to Somaliland for united Somalia. Secondly, today Somali presidential spokesperson Abdi Kareen Kar spoke about Somalia's soldiers under training in Eritrea. The soldiers were sent to Eritrea in 2019, I think, and we have been hearing rumors, unconfirmed reports that Somalia soldiers were deployed by Eritrean army to fight in Tigray against Tigray Defense Force. Abdul Salam Babigar, UN Special Rapporteur on Eritrea, in a few reports shared these claims that Eritrea deployed Somalia soldiers to fight in Tigray. Today, Abdi Kareen addressed rumors that Eritrea has demanded 50 million US dollars from Somalia as expenditure on military training of Somalia soldiers. He rejected all these rumors. Eritrea has not demanded anything. But he said that some soldiers have been killed or died, if the right word. Some soldiers have died in Eritrea due to natural causes, and their families have been informed about their deaths. The withdrawal, the return of these Somalia soldiers from Eritrea to Somalia has not started so far. But Somalia's government has made it clear that it wants the return of its soldiers from Eritrea. Why is it that it is taking so long if Somalia has decided to bring its soldiers back from Eritrea? Why is it taking long? I mean, Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud was elected on the 15th of May. Almost 45 days have passed. And so far, a return of these soldiers from Eritrea has not begun. Thirdly, viewers, Amhara region of Ethiopia, where street demonstrations are underway. Students have also held rallies, protests in Gondar University, Debre Birhan, Debre Marcos, Wollo, Voldia universities. Then Zigoti forces launched a crackdown against student leaders. Several were arrested. People are also protesting in Shoa, Robit. Some demonstrations were held. I think I shared a clip as well 2 days ago from Shoa, Robit, showing students and locals protesting there. And after that, again, some organizers of the protest in Shoa, Robit have been arrested. After the arrests of organizers of Shoa, Robit protests, reportedly some students, locals, they went to the police station where arrested organizers are being kept, and they offered their arrest too. They told security officials to arrest them as well. So now people are starting to challenge security forces. In Majete, another town in North Shoa zone of Amhara region, people took to the streets today. Large demonstration was held in Majete. So overall situation is worsening. People are of this opinion. People say that Amhara ethnic group is being targeted. All these demonstrations started after Vellaga massacre, in which hundreds of innocent civilians were killed in the Oromia region of Ethiopia. Watch this video from Majete showing today's demonstration. Fourthly, viewers, Amhara diaspora community has been trying to internationalize the issue of killings of Amhara ethnic group members. It seems that their strategy is working on international level. Killings of Amhara ethnic group members is being discussed. A meeting of UN Human Rights Council was held where an NGO spoke about arrests of journalists, arrests of dissenting voices in the Amhara region of Ethiopia. The UN Human Rights Council session was held yesterday, I think, and there this NGO raised voice for Amhara ethnic group members. Watch this video showing the NGO spokesperson speaking about atrocities against Amhara ethnic group members in Ethiopia.
With Human Rights Without Frontiers and other international NGOs, we are very concerned about the recent wave of mass arrests and disappearances of Amhara activists, journalists, and other critics by the Ethiopian federal government. More than 4,500 people were arrested in the Amhara region by the end of May, officials said. Among them, a 4-year-old boy, Ashenafi Abebe Enyao, a 76-year-old historian, Thaddeus Tontu, academician Meskerem Abera, journalists Temesgen Desale and Mahaza Mohamed. By mid-June, the little boy, the academician, and journalist Mahaza were released after spending some time in detention. The Amharas, the second largest ethnic group in Ethiopia, have repeatedly complained about the lack of protection of the federal government when Tigray and Oromo forces invaded their region and attacked civilians. We recommend that the International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia investigate the recent mass arrests of Amharas, locate their places of detention, and the way they are treated. Thank you.
Another news from UN Human Rights Council is that last year, at the end of last year, UN Human Rights Council voted to form a commission, an inquiry commission, to investigate human rights abuses committed in Tigray, Amhara, and Afar regions. During Tigray conflict, Ethiopia and African countries opposed the formation of the commission. But after majority vote, the commission was formed. Later, Ethiopia opposed the funding for this commission. The commission has not traveled to Ethiopia so far. 3-member commission led by Kenyan, I think she's from Kenya, Kari Bati Murungi. Stephen Ratner is second member of this commission. Now this commission is planning to visit Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital. Reportedly in May, some meetings were held between this commission members and Ethiopian Justice Minister. And Stephen Ratner, one commission member, a few hours ago confirmed that in mid-July the Commission plans to visit Ethiopia. Will Ethiopia allow this Commission to visit the country, and will this Commission be allowed to visit those places where human rights abuses have been committed? Will this Commission be allowed to travel to Humera, Volkai, Sagede, Aksom, Kobo, and Afar region? That remains to be seen. If Commission has announced its plan to visit Ethiopia, it means that there might have been some meetings between Ethiopian government officials and Commission members, and Ethiopian government might have shown the green light to this Commission to come and visit Ethiopia. Let's see. Ethiopia has been opposing this Commission. Ethiopia said that an earlier investigation conducted by UN human rights body and Ethiopian human rights body should be respected, and the recommendation of that investigation are being implemented by Ethiopian government. There is no need of new investigation. But that investigation was rejected by Tigray regional government. Tigray regional government is backing this new commission. Will this new commission be allowed to enter Ethiopia and to visit all the places where abuses were committed against civilians? That remains to be seen. Lastly, was very important news story. Tensions between Tigray ruling party TPLF and opposition parties have emerged in recent days. We have seen statements. First, we saw statement from three parties: Salse Vujene, Betona, and Tigray Independence Party. The three parties accused TPLF of being hypocrite, that it was not taking the three parties on board regarding talks with Ethiopian federal government. Then after that, Getachew shared a video clip. He said that the three parties might have been, they might be backed by authorities in Addis Ababa, and that Tigray government, TPLF, was in touch with the three parties, but they were not playing a constructive role. Today, an opposition party released a very detailed statement, and the statement indicates that it could be difficult for Tigray regional government to create consensus in Tigray before the start of talks with Ethiopian federal government. Name of the party is Salse Vujene. Salse Vujene is a Tigray region's opposition party, small party led by Hayalio Gordafe. The party got a few thousand votes in 2020 regional election, I think. So it's not a big party. The party says, firstly, that Getachew shared false information, that opposition parties are being kept on board, that regular meetings are happening between ruling party and opposition parties. The party says that TPLF never made any joint decisions at the discussions which were held, but the discussions have been suspended for some time. So what Getachew said is false. The party rejected allegations that it's backed by external players, by players from Addis Ababa. Importantly, very important thing is that this party rejected one condition laid out by Ethiopian government for start of talks with Tigray regional government. Ethiopian government laid out three conditions. Firstly, there should be protection of national interest in talks. Secondly, constitutional order must be respected. Talks should be within constitutional order of Ethiopia. And lastly, African Union should lead the process. This party, Salse Vujene, has rejected first condition, that the talks should be within Ethiopian constitutional order. The party says Ethiopian constitution has been dismantled. Ethiopia involved other countries. Ethiopia committed genocide of Tigray, and there is no constitution now. That is why talks should not be according to Ethiopian constitution. Salse Vijene is of this view that if Ethiopian constitutional order is upheld in talks, it means that Tigray would not be able to have an army. Regions cannot raise army according to Ethiopian constitution. And secondly, the call for independence by some groups, by this party as well, independence of Tigray, will also suffer setback if talks are within strict boundaries of Ethiopian constitution. Now, TPLF is now in a difficult position. TPLF-led Tigray government has not announced the formation of negotiation committee. Ethiopian government has formed the committee led by Damake Mekonnen. But so far, Tigray has not formed any committee. Why? Reason is very clear, that there is no consensus in Tigray about the formation of this committee. One party is rejecting Ethiopian government's condition that talks should be held within Ethiopian constitutional order. So that is why it's becoming difficult for Tigray government to create consensus in Tigray for the upcoming talks. If constitution is upheld, Tigray has an advantage that Western Tigray could become part of Tigray. But at the same time, Tigray's stated position that it will never dismantle Tigray Defense Force could be in danger. It could suffer setback. Tigray might have to withdraw from its position about TDF. So, let's see. We're waiting for Tigray government's response to Ethiopian government's three conditions. Will Tigray government start talks under the three conditions? Who will be the members of Tigray's negotiating team? That remains to be seen as well. But this Salse Vijene statement indicates that Tigray government is in the process of creating consensus. Interestingly, the statement is from just one party. Earlier statement was from three parties, Salse Vijene, Betona and TIP. But this statement is just from one party. It means that the other two parties, they are not rejecting the three Ethiopian conditions for talks. We're waiting for Tigray government's position and Betona and TIP's position about talks with Ethiopian federal government. Thanks for watching.